Race fans, what is up? Welcome to the Motorsport Report, our second episode. Today is September the 17th, 2025, the year of our Lord 2025. And we just came off of one of the most electric NASCAR race weekends I think I have ever seen. Maybe in the last 5 years, for sure in the last 5 years, one of the more electric NASCAR races that I've ever seen. Just going to quickly say hello to the chat. What is going on? Racing Road, good morning, America. Wyatt Watson, Trevor, Sigs in chat, baby. Sigs in chat. We love a good Sig in chat. I'm getting our recording started because we're not going to want to miss a moment of today's show. So if you are someone you know right now is a motorsport fan, is a fan of race cars racing, send them this link to our live stream, invite them into the fold, let them become one of the gold pack. Trevor knows about that gold pack. That's right. Let them into the fold. Bring them to the family. We're starting a revolution here on Motorsport Report. We're covering not just NASCAR, but we're covering IndyCar. We're talking about whatever other types of racing you want to discuss here in the chat. We'll also open up the phone lines here in a little while. And also, special guest coming on the show today. I've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going to be joining us around 12:45, 12:50. He'll sit and talk with us for about 15 minutes. Hear from him on the race at Bristol. I know he got beaten, banged up a little bit out there on the track, and I want to get his perspective on that race and his thoughts now that he's had a couple of days to process it all. So we'll talk to him. You guys can get some questions in for Ricky as well. And then we're going to be looking ahead to New Hampshire, NASCAR at New Hampshire. We start the round of 12 in the NASCAR Cup Series. And don't think that I'm going to sleep on IndyCar, because not only do we have a brand new episode of Speed Street out with me and Connor Daly this week where we talked to IndyCar champion Alex Palou, but we've got a brand new schedule. The 2026 IndyCar schedule has officially dropped. We're going to unpack that as well. Throughout the entirety of this show, we're going to kind of be all over the place. This is Motorsport Report. This is where reporters report. This is what we do. We come here to report. We come here to chat. We come here to talk and have a good time. So definitely share this link with a friend. Put it on your social media. Get as many people in here chatting, talking, and we're going to have us a good time today. And we will be opening the phone lines up pretty soon too. So I think that might be a great way to just go ahead and kick this show off today. I want to get some of your thoughts if you guys do want to call in. Plus, we can test the phone lines, because if you were here on Saturday night for the Bristol live stream, which, my God, over 14,000 people have viewed that now, which is incredible. So we're definitely going to keep doing these live streams. Obviously, there is a need for them. There are people that want them. And it's just a lot of fucking fun. It is incredibly fun. So I'm enjoying doing that. We're going to continue doing the NASCAR live streams throughout the remainder of the 2025 NASCAR season. So make sure you tune in for those, and then I'll open up the phone lines after those races as well to get immediate reactions. But they did work on that stream. Should be working here today. I'm going to go ahead and share the number with everyone now. Here it is, 980-317-8717. You can call that number, and you will basically be patched in live on this program. Bring up your thoughts. Tell me what you feel about the Bristol race now that a couple of days have gone by, now that some expert analysis is out there amongst the people. We had a lot of the Dirty Mo media guys talk about it. So we've heard about it on the side of Dale Jr. We've heard about it from the side of Denny Hamlin, Jeff Gluck, and the boys. So here we go. We got a call coming in. Let's test this out, make sure we're good to go. Motorsport Report, you are live.
Good morning, man. Living an interesting weekend.
It was a very interesting weekend, and I'm here in the chat. I have you loud and clear. I see that we have sound loud and clear, so I'm waiting on the chat to tell us if we have you, the caller, loud and clear. But very interesting weekend. And what's your name and where are you calling from?
Zach from the dentist office.
It's Zach from the dentist
Russellville,
office.
Alabama.
So, Zach, tell me, now that you've had a couple of nights to process, I know that you said like when you called in on Sunday night, you said you'd give this maybe about a 70 to 80% good race rating, and you also said your back hurt because you were helping a friend move. Have you had any change in thoughts since then?
Well, my back is better. I think the race, it can be like 85. I mean, I'm kind of harsh on my race ranking, so
I can tell. Well, I guess this is what I thought about when you called in, and I thought about that, and I wanted to ask you, what is it that kept it from being 100% in your mind?
Well, it's just look like I wish we can run rain tires there. So
it wasn't raining though.
Rain,
Zach. It wasn't raining.
I know.
Like what keeps this from being a good race? My question is, what keeps this from being 100% a good race? Because there are a lot of people out there that are just blown away at the product that we saw. So you're one of the only people I've heard that is not giving it that good thing. Well, there's a lot of people that are on the F1 side that don't really get it. They don't really understand it. And I know you are an F1 fan, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But there's no rain tires needed. What was it about that specific night that kept it from being 100% in your mind?
Like too many cautions.
Too many cautions. Okay, I can understand that. Now we're speaking from a ground of understanding. I heard that there were over 2 hours of caution laps, which is a bit egregious. I agree. But because of the right side tire, because of the conditions, because of the physicality of Bristol, you kind of expect to have these cautions. That's kind of always been a thing at Bristol, especially in the 90s during that era. So what I'm saying is that while I do understand that, and I feel like that's a very valid concern that you have, too many cautions, and it was late. I mean, we were up until about midnight. So I get that, and I guess I can understand on that side of it about the race. But I don't want to keep you hung up on that for too long, Zach. Is there anything else on your mind going into this week?
The IndyCar schedule for next year. I mean, yeah. I love the schedule. We had more races. The only thing I don't like about the schedule is we're taking away Nashville for a final race.
Right. That and it sucks. Look, anytime you take an oval away, I completely understand that. I'm a big fan of ovals for IndyCar. I think we should have more ovals in IndyCar, which we have 5, and we're going to talk a little bit about that on this show. We may just start there too. But the one thing that I will say is about the Nashville race. If you haven't yet, you listen to Speed Street. Me and Connor talk about this. The Nashville race that we do have on the schedule is going to be a night race under the lights, and it's going to be right after the FIFA World Cup. Do you know how big of a moment that's going to be?
It'd be a big moment, like are there like World Cup games in Nashville? If so, we have like international fans coming into the racetrack.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans that are watching the World Cup in Nashville. It would be cool to see them be able to go there for that race, but I think a lot of the people are probably going to remain on Broadway that are there to watch World Cup soccer. I don't think there's not a lot of soccer racing crossover, except if you like Formula One. I feel like the soccer fans are big Formula One fans, and like the football, basketball, baseball, NASCAR, IndyCar. It's very Americana.
Well, you could lie to them saying, like, Formula One's racing at a track in the middle of nowhere called Nashville.
Yeah, but they're already like, I don't understand what you're saying. They are in Nashville. You could lie to them.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Like I'm saying, if there are World Cup fans in Nashville, I think it's a big thing. That's a big thing right there to have that for the television ratings, for the numbers. That's going to be huge. So that's what I'm excited about. But yeah, any other things on the schedule that you like before we let you go, Zach?
Barber Motorsport Park, my home track. I like where it's at on the schedule because it's going to be like 45 in the morning and 65 or 70 in the afternoon. I love where time is in the schedule because of the weather.
Yes. Yeah, that's a fantastic one. And, obviously, I don't know how many races I'm actually going to be at going into next year now that we've got this kicked up. I may be more of the race streamer guy, but we'll need people like you out there at that track. Barber is a fantastic event, and I love the fact that it's right at the end of March as we get ready to roll into like Masters season, because I always like to kind of look at the IndyCar race at Barber, and like that falls into the same kind of category for me as like the Masters and the PGA, like golf. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like I could be your race reporter after the race. You know,
we do need reporters. Like, we don't have reporters here, but we have reporters. So I am always on the lookout for more people online to report at the races. And for the people that have been around for a very long time and been hanging around with me for years, they understand what it means to report on the races. Yeah. So you got to add the emphasis in it. Can I hear a report?
Yeah, a report here from Barber Motorsports Park.
You got to put more into it, Zach. You got to really lean into it.
Okay. Report from Motorsports Park here in Birmingham, Alabama.
No. We got to report.
Report.
Dude, move your hands. Move your hands with it. Like, report.
Report.
There it is. That's a little bit better. We'll get there. We're gonna work on it. That's our
I have a
Barber
accent.
reporter, Zachary.
Yeah.
From Alabama. We're gonna go back to Zach from Alabama now that the dentist office is done. Zach from Alabama, from the dentist office, he's gonna report, and we appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we let you go?
I think it's about it. You know, Barber Motorsports Park is my home track, and so Nashville. So for IndyCar side, I can report there and maybe Talladega.
Well, look, you got to work on that report. You got to work on that a little bit more, and then let's not push it. You know what I'm saying, Zach? Like we'll start with one. We're going to start with one today. All right. Well, we're going to let you go, Zach. Thank you for calling.
All right. One thing. I have a YouTube channel called Racing Road, and I might be in the chat. So.
Okay. Well, you got to learn to report before that. So I will see you in the chat. So show me how you report in the chat today. I'll be on the lookout.
God, okay.
All right. Bye-bye. That was Zach from Alabama. Shout out to Zach. He's a reporter in training. It's a good time. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about this IndyCar schedule. I feel like that's a good place to start. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about Bristol with Ricky when he comes on and joins the show. Catching up here in the chat, we see Sick Nick. Oh, lunchtime. What's for lunch? Oh, we got another caller. Motorsport Report, you're live.
Hey, Chase. Wyatt Watson on the front stretch. How you doing, man?
Wyatt, what's up? Dude, how did we do? I have to ask. So, obviously, this is Wyatt from Front Stretch. Did a show with Wyatt last week where we previewed Bristol. I didn't win any money.
Oh, yeah.
Wyatt. Did you? I know it's terrible, but did you bet on Christopher Bell?
Oh no, I did not have Bell anywhere near. He came out of nowhere, honestly. Like for race winning, he worked his way up. I was preaching Ty Gibbs all weekend, and it looked great the whole race until that last pit stop. So
yeah, it's like
that was kind of a bummer.
If only there was a bet for like who leads the most laps, you know, that would be
right.
That would be something, because I was looking at the statistics of that the other night, and like, dude, I was really impressed at Ty Gibbs at Bristol. I'm not gonna lie, like I was very impressed with his composure, especially knowing that we got this kind of a race. No one expected this, and now after I've kind of listened to some other people in the industry talk about it on their shows and stuff, like it really is apparent nobody expected this race to play out like this. So I don't feel like I'm so much on an island anymore, because that night when we were live streaming, I felt like I was on an island. I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. Like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, this is one of the most insane things I've seen in my lifetime, because I wasn't around. I didn't go to the 95. I was 3 years old at the 95 Bristol, which is what they're comparing this to. And there's some other people in the industry that are having some other comments on it. But my God, Joe Gibbs, dude, they got the formula, dog. I really want to see what they can do going into this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about it on our show too. New Hampshire is going to be such a Christopher Bell track. It's going to be hard to beat him. But and I already looked at the books going into that race. 8-1 for Chase Briscoe, who finished second here. Granted, it was a rain race. It kind of got crazy at the end of that race with the wet track, and I've never seen anyone take the high line at New Hampshire quite like NASCAR at last season. So
yeah,
Joe Gibbs is just in their groove right now in this playoff with those 3 wins from 3 different drivers, and Ty Gibbs was poised to win that race. I wouldn't be surprised if he does well at New Hampshire with just momentum from that. He has Chris Gabehart on his box too, really mentoring him and kind of composing him at the track nowadays. So I'm curious to see what happens in New Hampshire with these guys.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, I feel like your heavyweights that you're going to have going into this weekend is obviously going to be Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell. And Christopher Bell being the heaviest, he's obviously opening as the favorite here. Ryan Blaney's another one I'm going to be watching too, because he has some of the best consistency right now in the playoffs, and I know that things maybe didn't fall exactly how he wanted to with the win, but I mean, it looks like he's got top 10s in both of these. They are in at least the first 3 races of the playoffs. So I mean, he's close. He's close.
Yeah, and Penske typically turns it on once we get deeper into the playoffs, 6.5 to 1. I think the books are looking at that right now. I'm looking at the books right now, thanks to Action Network. But yeah, it's just I don't know, because Blaney has to beat those Gibbs guys. You have Larson at 8 to 1 as well. Some of the other Hendrick guys I'm not really too high up on going to New Hampshire. It's really there's a lot of top heavy. We're not going to get what we got at Bristol because I forecasted it and that's all we could have done. And especially after practice qualifying, nobody saw that coming at all. So glad that we got that. That was an entertaining race from a TV perspective. I've heard chatter from people I know that went there that did not like that race from a viewer, from a spectator's perspective. I was like, what?
Dude, I had so many people that were posting to me and that were telling me, and I guess I can understand it because like if you're there to be like, okay, like if you're like a racing nerd, you want to be able to follow every little thing that's happening. One thing that I did hear Denny Hamlin talking about is how they removed like the pylon and the LED bar so that people can see where everyone's at. Because that was the biggest problem in Bristol, in my opinion, was when you're looking out there, like for one, the drivers have no clue where they're at. And if the drivers have no clue where they're at, that's not good. So, you're having to basically just rely on what you're hearing from your radio feeds and everything like that. But then on the other side of that, like if the fans don't have something they can visually turn to look at, because no one expected the race to be this way, right? If you don't have something you can visually look at in a race like that, you're fucked. Like you're just like, but that's just what I was saying about what this race really was. Like, when I go to a Bristol race, I'm not so concerned where somebody is at on the track at that moment. I'm there for a good time, and I'm there to just watch them cars rip. That, for me, is exactly what we did get out of that race. Now, granted, there was a lot of cautions. I get it. But you're going to have cautions when this kind of shit's happening. Like, Goodyear made this tire that way for a reason, and when you add physicality into the racing with that, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? Like, they're just going to let you just demolition derby? Like, you're going to have some caution. So, I don't think that – I think for what they did, it was a fantastic product. I've heard mixed reviews about it from people that are in the stands. Like you say, you've heard some people that hated it. I've heard some people that absolutely loved it. So, I think what's important here is that when you can create a product that is polarizing like that, that's when you know you're onto something. You're onto something good.
Yeah.
You can get both sides of the conversation going.
Yeah, and if I was in the stands, honestly, I would have loved seeing the passing, just the chaos. I would have just been slamming a bush apple watching go around if it was just me on like a break, not covering it, obviously. Like that is exactly what I want to see out of a racing product at Bristol. But wait, it is leagues better than what we got in the spring. When it's too hot and they can't pass and we're just moaning, everyone's complaining about how bad the racing product was in spring. And now you get this and everyone's like, oh, well, we don't want this much chaos. Like it's half empty or half full with some of the race
You're never
fans that are out there.
Every fan.
Yeah.
And that is what, and I think more and more people are starting to learn that. There's a really interesting news nugget that I'm going to be talking about today as well. But and I'll get into that. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you wanted to say going into this weekend? Is there any pick you want to give out? Since we did the show last week, I mean, you're like the guy that calls in. Like, who's your pick to win at New Hampshire this weekend early on right now?
I mean, it's got to be Christopher Bell right now. I know he's plus 350.
Boo, you suck. You took the favorite. Boo.
He's the favorite, I know, but it's so tough. If I didn't have to pick Christopher Bell, it's Chase Briscoe all day. Okay. It's Chase Briscoe at 8-1. He's been competing. He is on a hot streak. Honestly, his 8-1 there, he's 8-1 to win the championship right now. I think I'd take that at this point with how good that 19 team has been.
I'm going to dive a little bit into
that's something to look into.
Yeah, something to look into for sure. I'm going to dive into odds once we get a little bit closer to the end of the show today. We'll kind of close out like we did last week. But glad to have the phone lines working. Thanks for calling back in. And yeah, let's just keep calling in every week, Wyatt. Me and you are just going to keep chopping it up, big dog. That's how we'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and by the way, for that IndyCar schedule, love it. Love a lot of what they're doing with this. Other than the Laguna Seca ending, but the start front heavy with Phoenix and Arlington too. Everyone's forgetting about the streets of Arlington.
Well, it was only announced like 2 years ago, so I mean,
right?
What are you gonna
Don't forget that's going to be a big event. I mean, I'm from Texas, so I'm a little biased. I'm not a Cowboys fan though. Don't get that twisted.
Are you a Texans fan?
Diehard Texans fan. Monday night was terrible.
You're a little more tolerable now. Now you're a little more tolerable to the public.
Oh, absolutely.
I like to the public.
I never asked who's your team on that side on NFL.
New Orleans Saints fan, dog. I'm from New Orleans.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Saints fan.
we have talked about that. No, that's you're cool. I like the Saints. I like my Saints fans, but
yeah, I like them too. They just suck balls right now. Let's be honest. So
our O-line sucks ass too. So don't worry. Well, I'm in the same boat, kind of. We need to do better on that front, but we'll
save football talk for when me and you chat. But brother, thanks so much for calling in. I'm going to go ahead and roll into this IndyCar schedule. That was Wyatt. Everybody that called in, check him out. He's with Front Stretch, covers IndyCar. Maybe does a little NASCAR too. Definitely does a little NASCAR podcasting. But let's get back to this IndyCar schedule because I do think it's interesting to talk about. And then I think as far as Bristol, just to kind of close Bristol out, we've got plenty of opinions out there. We know that they can put on a good racing product, and I can't wait to see what Goodyear continues to do at some of these other short tracks. I know a lot of people are talking about Martinsville. Bring a tire like that to Martinsville. Do it. Just do it, please, because I put an argument out that Martinsville is a crown jewel this weekend, and I personally think that, and I didn't just do that to rage bait anybody. I personally think Martinsville, you get a fucking clock. You get a clock. I mean, what other race are you getting a clock? Like a handmade fucking clock, dude. I feel like that right there alone should make it a crown jewel. It's one of the most consistent trophies of all time. Everyone lusts after the clock. Everyone wants a clock. Why is it not a crown jewel? I think that you're crazy if you don't consider it. I'll just put it that way. But enough with the Bristol. Goodyear, they did their fucking job. Thank God. Let's talk some IndyCar, because this is where it gets hot. So obviously we break it down a little bit on Speed Street, but I'm going to give you a little bit more of my thoughts now that I've had a whole day to really just process this and not just like 10 minutes before Speed Street. I've had an entire day to really process this 2026 schedule. And we're going to go over to the browser view. Again, the phone lines are open. You can call in, interrupt me anytime. I like talking. We're going to have a good time. But let's go ahead and move over to browser view. I'm going to get everything lined up for us so that we can go look directly at that 2026 schedule. Here we go. Transition. I like transitions. They're fun. All right, all right, the phone line's down, but let's just go through this really quick. Streets of St. Petersburg. On March the 1st. March 7th, we have Phoenix Raceway. March 15th, the streets of Arlington. And March 29th, Barber Motorsports Park. We talked a little bit about that with our guy, Trevor from Alabama. And, you know, the biggest one here is obviously Phoenix, okay? Phoenix is humongo. because NASCAR is going to be racing at the same time. Bob Pockrass put a tweet out earlier today that was basically saying he's pretty sure it's going to be the IndyCar race, and then it's going to roll into the Xfinity race after that under the lights. So it won't be a Phoenix race under the lights like I personally think we should have. I think that they should race Xfinity in the daytime and IndyCar at nighttime, because IndyCar ovals under the lights are law. And they are one of the most amazing products you will ever see for open wheel racing in America. And that is where I stand, and I will never get off that soapbox, because if you watch Worldwide Technologies Raceway, the Worldwide Technology Raceway race on Sunday night that they had, the prime time Sunday night race, it got over 1 million views. That one, dear God, Connor and Pato battling up front for the lead, Kyle Kirkwood stealing it on a strategy call from Felix Rosenquist, was probably one of the most memorable IndyCar races that I've ever been a part of. And I say that because I've been to 2 Indy 500s, and I've been to 3 Indy 500s now. Out of the 3 Indy 500s I've been to, there's always that lore, there's always that magic, but my God, when you just put those cars on an oval under the lights at night, do that more. So I do wish we would have had that for Phoenix. When we move into April, this is where the concerns start. April 19th, Streets of Long Beach. Now, when I look at Long Beach, I'm automatically, in my mind, just from knowing what I do know about the series, Long Beach is a crown jewel of IndyCar. I don't mind that it gets an entire month. What I do mind is that there's a lot of room for people to forget about IndyCar, especially after a packed out March. But I do think that it's great that they're packing it out so much early on in March, because we had just one of the most horrendous fall-offs after St. Pete last year. For one, it was kind of a snoozer of a race, and then you put all that hype into this series after the Super Bowl, and then you lose all that momentum after that one race. People are like, I don't know if I want to watch this. And that's what happens. So now this at least will keep people a little bit more glued, I feel like, week to week. We definitely got to put on a better product at St. Pete. A little more drama, a little more action. Keep some of the newer motorsport fans coming into the IndyCar world, because we already know they got a great IndyCar fan base. The Midwest loves IndyCar. We got to sprinkle and spread that out all across the map. Going into May should be completely reserved for the Indianapolis 500. There is just a shitload of stuff going on in Indy for the month of May. I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. And Trevor, I'm just reading your comment here too, where it says you were bummed when you didn't see Richmond on the schedule. We were all a little bummed, but I feel like Phoenix definitely can make up just a smidge for that. So at least we do have that. When we go into June, we're going to have Streets of Detroit to end out May, which was another race that did really well. I liked that race. A lot of the drivers didn't like that race, but dear God, if you were watching it, it was fun. June 7th, we go back to Worldwide Technology Raceway. Hopefully that one's going to be under the lights again. And then we have Road America on the 21st, which Road America was one of the most fantastic strategy races we had last year. So I don't mind that. So 2 races in June, 2 races in July, Mid-Ohio and Nashville. And you heard on the call, Nashville will be under the lights right after the FIFA World Cup. Should be a lot of international viewers come over. They'll just be confused. They'll think it's F1, and then they'll stay. And then they'll be like, whoa, F1 cars can race on ovals? What? And then they'll be like, no, this is IndyCar, dog. And then they'll be like, oh, and then they're either going to just be pretentious about it and stick around, or are they going to be losers and leave? So that's where I stand on that. After that, which is going to be an incredible race, Nashville, I want to be there, but I have this feeling that I'm going to have to stream it. I mean, I feel like I got to be here for the rest of the people that can't be there. Let's go into August. So they're going to close out strong, which is what I really like. So we've got Portland, Streets of Markham instead of Toronto, and that's just due to World Cup shit. So we do have Streets of Markham. That'll be cool. From there, we're going to have Milwaukee Race 1 and Milwaukee Race 2. Now, here's the deal with that. They didn't get the Mexico race. I don't think that's a problem. I think they need to keep focusing on building their roots in the United States right now. This is America's top form of open wheel racing. This is America's open wheel thrills. Stop trying to go international so damn fast. Let's grow the market a little bit, and then we'll be fine. So I don't mind a doubleheader here because they know that what Milwaukee does is put on one hell of a product. Colin says he's heading up to Road America next year. Fucking right. It's a great spot. I hear that they like to grill and party a lot up there. Sounds like my kind of place. But with this Milwaukee doubleheader, I think that's going to be fantastic. Anytime you can do that. Now, the teams are definitely going to have to plan for that because if you remember the doubleheader from a year ago, it was a little bit of a shit show on day 2. So day 2 provided a little bit of a shit show, but if they can get that strategy all together, they're going to put on 2 amazing races. Zach, what is up? Good to see you in the chat here. And then September, the final race, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people probably expected me to be upset about this, but let me tell you something, okay? Let me just break it down a little bit. This is not that big of an issue. I don't mind Laguna Seca because, in my mind, Laguna Seca is a crown jewel of IndyCar. The corkscrew is one of the most fascinating things to watch. I just love watching those cars rip down in there and just, you know what I'm talking about? I love that shit. So anytime that they want to put a crown jewel track as their finale, I think that's fine. And I think because the roots of IndyCar definitely started on an oval, and then they expanded a little more into the road and the street. I just like the balance in IndyCar. So I don't mind it being a road because you have to look at where the drivers are right now. What is the majority of drivers in your field? What is their skill set? Where do they come from? The majority of them, there's a lot of international drivers, and there's some drivers that are here from America. But they do a really good job of catering to their drivers. Catering to the drivers and the skill set, and I think that that's what has been achieved by them moving this race to this date. So I don't mind it. Zach says, streets of Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, fuck, even Ottawa would have been better than the suburbs of Toronto. I don't know much about Markham. I've only been to Toronto. If it were up to me, I would say do it in West Queen West, because then there's going to be people that are just stoned and tripping balls on mushrooms, and they're just going to be like, what is happening on these streets right now? Because that's a wild fucking place. If you've ever been to West Queen West, that is a psychedelic trip of a street. That is a wild time. I watched a woman out there by a tree doing I thought she was homeless, but she was just doing performance art. That shit was nuts to me. Meanwhile, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park is just up the road, and Montreal's real road course is also not that far. Yeah, Zach, but I think that they want to keep the same vibe of the street. Now, you might know more than me, okay? Vancouver, you could get that too. Yeah, I mean, it's just what? Could you imagine just the people from West Queen West just trying to process what they're seeing going down on that street? To me, what a time. Wow, what a time. Long live Streets of Vancouver race. Maybe someday. But that is your 2026 schedule. Like I said, I don't mind it. I think that there's a lot of room for growth in the IndyCar series, and I think that we're going to have a lot more growth. So if they can capitalize big on this year, we're only going into year 2 of the Fox deal. Year 1 of 5 with Fox basically being the major broadcast network. And we're going into year 1 of Fox being a majority owner. So if you don't think that they're going to spice it up a little bit and IndyCar's not listening to what Fox has bringing to the table, you're out your mind. And I can say that with confidence because I've talked to people that work with Fox. IndyCar is just we're ready. We are ready. Unleash the hounds. Let's take it all the way. So I couldn't be more happy with IndyCar right now, and I think that this is a great start, and it's only going to go up from here. Hopefully we can get that Richmond race because I think a lot of us want it. Let's go through a little bit more of some of the news that I have here on the screen. So let's get back over to the X where we get our news. Shout out to X. Great news spot. Bob Pocker's here talking a little bit about some of the notes from a call with IndyCar execs. Phoenix is a 1-year deal to be determined if it returns in 2027. Not bad. We can deal with that. Okay. Phoenix race likely prior to Xfinity in early evening. Kind of ass, but I get it. Laguna Seca likely the site for finale for multiple years. Makes sense. Hopeful for Mexico City in 2027. Let's refocus and regroup. Let's see where we go. Let's get 1 million views per race. That should be the only thing we think about before Mexico City. Let's get 1 million views per race. When we get 1 million views per race, that's when it's time to think about Mexico City. DC in 2026, not feasible. Okay, so it looks like DC is completely dismissed from the rumors. So there you have it. So no more worrying about DC. So thank you, Bob. And now, oh, by the way, Jimmy Johnson's birthday today. That's something for the IndyCar fans and the NASCAR fans. Big birthday for Jimbo Johnson. Big Jimmy J birthday. Gotta love that. Do you remember what the alternate reality where Jeff Gordon had those championships? What a great alternate reality that was. That's Jimmy Johnson. And yeah, going back to the Bristol news a little bit, so it got a 0.79 rating and 1.536 million viewers for Saturday night's Bass Pro Shops night race. Guess what, Kevin? You can still get people to watch on a college football Saturday. Guess what, Kevin? You can still get the viewers on a Saturday night in Bristol. Just wanted to say that. I feel like that was important to say. Do I ever see them extending the schedule past 17 races? I feel like 20 would be a good number. I feel like 20 is the perfect number, Zach. And I think that IndyCar should look into doing 20 races. I feel like it only makes sense. You know what I mean? It only makes sense to do 20 races. 17 races is bleh. And there was a great article that was put out this weekend. I'll probably have to go find it. We're getting close to the top of the hour here. We're going to have Ricky Stenhouse on. But I will say there was an article Zach Brown wrote. And Zach Brown talked a good bit about his view of IndyCar going into the next couple of years. And he seems like he doesn't really want more races, but he does talk about pulling it up closer to the beginning of the year, and that's something I can agree with. I do think that we need more people that are really passionate about trying to yank that up a little bit, maybe even into February a little bit. But the whole reason that we have this set up this way right now is to roll after the Super Bowl. So it's a very fine line. I think they did everything they could to stack tight with the time window that they had. But as viewership increases, if we can get to that million a race mark, and not 700,000, if we can get to where we were pulling in at least 1 million viewers per race, I think that that's all the proof that they would need to know, like, okay, this is really growing, this is really ramping up. So it's up to the people. It's up to the people. I don't think people realize how much power they really have in motorsport or in sport in general. If the eyeballs are there, they're going to listen, they're going to try things, and they're going to try to keep that going because, I mean, that's money. That's the sound of money in your hands, if you can hear it. A little ASMR today on the Motorsport Report. That's the sound of money. If you put the eyeballs there, you buy the merch, you do the shit, it's money. They're going to be, what do we do with all this money? We got to spend this money now. My thoughts on the Milwaukee doubleheader, like I had said a bit ago, it's really just if the teams, I look more of the teams for day 2. You got to really make sure you're on your P's and Q's because the first race, the Saturday race of the doubleheader back in 2024 was fantastic. The next day, some of those teams that were really strong shit the bed. So it's like you just got to really make sure that your race prep is tight and tidy, I would say. Tight and tidy. Going through a little bit more news before we take a break and get back for the Stenhouse interview. Is Motorsport Report the succeeder to Race Bets? I love Race Bets earlier this year. Yes, this is what we're doing now. We're live streaming, brother. So big. I want to just say thanks so much for supporting everything that I try. I'm a very experimental guy, but there are certain things that I love and certain things I've wanted to do for a long time. This being one of them. I've wanted a live show. I just lived in an area where I didn't have the internet. And now I've moved, and now I have the internet, and I have the bandwidth and the power to do it at an affordable rate. So now I can do exactly what I want to do, which is live stream, do these live shows, talk to real fans, and live stream these races. I feel like that is a market that is not being explored enough right now in racing, and there is a big hole for live online coverage. For races, for race shows. When I wake up in the morning, and I don't want to get on my soapbox, but we only got a couple minutes before we take our break. When I get up in the morning, one of the first things I do, we are definitely going to be talking bets on this program, so stick around after the Ricky interview. We'll go back through some more news pieces. We got to talk a little bit more about the upcoming race at New Hampshire. That's where we're going to unpack that. But back to what I'm saying, when I wake up in the morning, I'm always like either going to Fox Sports 1 or ESPN, and there's a live show on, and there's people talking about what went down this past weekend or what's happening today. They're breaking down the news. We don't have that in racing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be the change I want to see, which is why we bring here. We are unleashing the JSON on the World Wide Web. Dude, the JSONs, I got those things still. They're still up here. I don't think I forgot the Valunator 9000s, dude. I got to update that JSON soon. We're going to have to update that JSON soon. I'm going to rip a little pack before we take a break. You got to rip a little pack sometimes. Sometimes you just got to rip a little pack. Traded all my bad habits for ripping pack. But yeah, we're going to be talking any bets, absolutely. But when I wake up in the mornings, I'm watching those shows. I want that for racing. So I'm like, you know what? No one's going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it because that's who the fuck I am. And I thank you guys for watching and supporting and for sharing. We'll continue to do that because this is only the beginning. This is the start. We're doing this every Wednesday. We're streaming every race for the rest of the season. Keep those eyeballs coming in. Let's show these people that this is what the fans want, that this is what the fans need right now in NASCAR and IndyCar. Briefly before we go, I know we don't talk about F1 a lot on this show. I did want to mention one thing because the only F1 we're going to talk about on this program is Cadillac F1, okay? It's only going to be Cadillac F1. I saw one of the coolest fucking things today. Jim Beam will become official spirits partner of Cadillac F1 team. I don't talk about F1 a lot. I don't plan on doing it. But that deserves to be talked about because if you are an IndyCar fan, you remember Dan Weldon, you remember the Jim Beam machine, all right? You look back, Robbie Gordon, the Jim Beam machine. Jim Beam is just one of those names. Like, I'm just waiting to see when is Jack Daniels going to get back on a car. Bring back some of these old sponsors that we had when we were kids, man. Bring back the things that made you become an alcoholic. Bring back the thing. I remember, I couldn't wait to grow up and rip Sig looking at Camel sponsorship. Just look at me, old Slim Jimmy. I couldn't wait to grow up and rip a Camel. I don't even think Jimmy Spencer smoked, dude. I was like, man, I just want to smoke Camels like Jimmy Spencer, dude. That's probably why they don't do it anymore, because it made us all grow up to just be absolute fucking addicts to shit, but that's why we zen. Shout out to the boys in Zimbabwe. But we're going to go ahead and take a break real quick here, and then when we come back, we're going to have Ricky Stenhouse on the program. So sit tight. We'll see you soon. Can you hear me now? All right. everybody else can hear us too. So I'm gonna go ahead and widen you out real quick. Let's see. I gotta get the picture right. What a view! Everybody that's waiting in the chat right now, just wait till you see this view. It's an incredible view. All right, let's see. I think we're good. All right, and here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, we are live. We are live and we are back. Welcome. We've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. joining us today on the Motorsport Report. Ricky, where are you right now?
We're at the house.
At the house. That's the house. That's the backyard. See, I've only seen it at nighttime. I've never seen it in the daytime. So this is the first time I'm getting to see it in the daytime. So, brother, there's a lot to unpack. I haven't got to really chat with you since I got up here this way, but I wanted to talk with you because you just ripped the NASCAR around at Bristol for possibly one of the more exciting races, I think, for the fans. And people want to know, like, what was that race like from your perspective? I know that things didn't really go the way you wanted it to, but if you were a fan watching that, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, we ripped the NASCAR around for sure, and we ripped up our tires along with everybody else. So I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think there was a lot of strategy involved of when to take tires, kind of when to jump in the outside lane to make a pass, how hard to push, and I felt like we were doing everything correctly. I think we qualified well, stayed up in the front on that long green flag run to start the race. We made it 60 laps on our tires, and not many people did. So we were only going to pit once that first stage. And then when that caution came out, it was really just a bad timed caution for us. But when all was said and done, we finished that first stage in 9th. Still felt like everything was kind of on par and where we needed to be. And then all of a sudden, we get spun. And then we were down a set of tires. So then we ended up having to stay out one time, and then we got spun again. And anytime you spin and you're, trying to keep it off the wall, obviously you're killing your tires. And so we just ran out of tires. We were just one short from everybody else. And so that kind of killed us for the rest of the event. But I loved it. I thought it was really cool to, maybe have something somewhere in the middle of what that was. And, which I think this tire was going to be kind of in that middle of the road from what we had in the spring this past time to the fall. We ran 60 laps in practice straight. The tires were wore out. They were about 50% worn out at least, but they weren't shredding. And so we knew that it was going to be a tire issue as far as like when to put tires on, when not to. And we were going to wear them out, and you were probably going to see some lap time fall off. But, it's wild. The temps dropped just a little bit, and then all of a sudden the rubber did not hold together.
Yeah, that was the big thing that everyone was surprised about, because when we were all watching practice, and I know that pretty much everybody was just like, oh, great, here we go again. It's going to be another follow the leader race off pit road. And so for the temp to only drop the little bit that it did, it caught me off guard so much, like watching in person. And I know a lot of fans I've talked to, they were super just like, I mean, obviously it was exciting, but it makes it that much harder for you guys and the team to like figure that out, like right on the line. And then Goodyear offered the set in the middle of the race too. So there was like almost like a rule change there. I mean, how do you view that?
Yeah, for us, obviously before we got down our set of tires and, kind of the situation that we were in, I was kind of against another set because I felt like our car was good on the long run. I think we were capable of running, 50 plus laps, 60 laps on a set of tires if we ran, a certain lap time, which I kind of had in my mind. I knew what lap times we needed to run after the start of the race. And, so I was looking forward to that challenge of trying to make it on, with one less set. The problem was we were making it on one less set than everybody else already. So I guess we ended up doing that. But yeah, that was tough. And, but it's the same for everybody. I think, you could roll the dice and say, hey, we'll put a set of tires on early, knowing that Goodyear's giving us another one. Or you're hoping that they're going to give you another one. Right. And, so they did. And, it was part of it. But, yeah, I thought it was very, very interesting to watch the guys kind of come and go and see who was going to pit early, try and make up that track position. And again, I mean, there was times that I gave up 2 or 3 rows to start on the inside lane because 2 or 3 laps in that middle to outside lane really killed your tires a lot. So
Yeah.
you had to be able to maybe make 1 lap around there on the restart and then get to the bottom.
Well, it looks like we got a technical difficulty with Ricky. Let's see if we can get him back. Some good conversation. There he is. He's back. All right, we got you back. Had a brief moment of technical difficulties. Let's see. All right, so we got you here. Let's see if we got your volume. Don't know if we've got. Let's see. All right, and let's try again. We're gonna do a transition. 1 sec. Bear with us. The technical the first guest. All right, here we go. All right, we got audio back. We're good now.
All right.
All right. So you were just telling us a little bit about how it was doing when you got up in that second, third groove. Obviously, we all saw the marbles up there. That's not where you want to be. I guess the next thing that I would ask about this race is there was a moment, and I don't know if you've heard or if you've talked to him, but you and Bubba Wallace had kind of gotten into it. Bubba was coming on the low line, and it almost looked like he pushed you up, and then he called you a sitting duck, dude. How have you talked to him since that, or did you know that he called you that?
No, I'm actually flying up with him this weekend, so I'll see. No, he shot me a text afterwards. Just that I think he called himself a sitting duck.
He called himself a sitting duck?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I haven't gone back to listen to it, but he was in the way. He goes, dude, I was having an issue. I went in the corner. You went to go around me, and my car just went straight. And he tagged me right in the left rear. But that was the kind of crazy thing about that race is once your right front was worn out, it was very difficult to get your car to turn. You would go in the corner, and it was like you had no front tires on. It just went dead straight. So we were trying to use the apron to get it to turn. I mean, we were doing all kinds of things to get it to turn. And that second spin, I would say for sure did us in because we got trapped the lap down. Then we had to race for the lucky dog. Then we got to wave around. But then we were starting at the back of the field and kind of killed us there, that third stage. But yeah, just bad circumstances for us.
Well, I'm glad that kind of clears it up because I could definitely understand if he's calling himself a sitting duck because it seemed like there was
he had some major issue. I don't know what the issue was, and I assume the right front was just gone. But then I don't know if there was something bigger because he did hit the wall later on in the race, so maybe he did have some parts failure going on, and then it finally broke later on. I'm not sure. I'll ask him this weekend.
Definitely do, but I think it was just the fact of like how much it caught everyone off guard. Because I mean, even Denny was saying that like he was like, I didn't know where anybody was, I didn't know where I was. They took away the LED monitors, the scoring pylon, so all that stuff's gone. So it makes it that much harder for you guys, especially because it's like you need to know your target when you're out there, and you're just having to rely on everybody here in the year.
You had no idea who you were racing, and your spotters, they're trying to spot for you. They're also trying to let you know who you're racing, but like, there's a lot going on, and they're having to look at their monitor to see who's on the lead lap and who's the next car for position. Your team's trying to figure out what pit strategy to do, when to pit, take 2 tires, 4 tires, all that sorts of stuff. And normally you're worried about how much fuel you have left for the race, and my guys were like, all right, we got to average 35 laps a set of tires left. That's right. All we were focused on. We weren't focused on fuel. We knew we were going to keep pitting and putting gas in it. So, yeah, it was just it was wild. And then, after the Riley spun us, we had just some front end damage that I think cost us a little bit of handling issues with our NOS Energy Drink Camaro. But
Monster versus
all in all,
Synergy. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All in all, I was really happy with our weekend. Qualified 11th. In contention, really, the whole first half of the race, being in the top 10 when that race was chaotic. I felt like my guys adapted well. And then, just being down a set, we were just kind of throwing Hail Marys at it there, trying to, save a set and get back on the same cycle. And it just never really worked.
Well, I don't think anybody can give you any shit whatsoever because it feels like everybody was throwing Hail Marys almost that night. So
Yeah.
that was the one thing that really just made that race cool. Like, would you be opposed to seeing this kind of attire at Martinsville?
It might help me at Martinsville. Martinsville is by far one of my worst racetracks, so I'm all for it. Let's do something different. Martinsville, I could have one dirt end and one concrete end. Just something to switch that place up for me. We've struggled there a lot.
Yeah, no, I think that a lot of the fans would like to see that too. Anything that we can do to get this Gen 7 car to be a little bit more, put on a little bit more of a show on the short track.
There was a lot of passes, I can tell you that.
God, there was. The comers and goers was nuts. But going into this weekend at New Hampshire too, and I had two questions before we do let you go from some of our chat. There's some people in the chat that got some pretty funny stuff right now that they're asking. But I wanted to ask this question. This was from Bacon Fat 8076. When are you paying back Hocevar?
Hocevar, I will say, it seems like he's got beef with other people now.
The field
that is more relevant than mine. We had a month there where we were having some issues, and ever since our chat at Mexico City, I feel like he's been kind of racing me like a teammate, and I told him, hey, I appreciate that. So I think right now, him and I are on a good level, a good spot. I got my point across, and he's giving that respect back to me on the racetrack. So him and I are in a good spot right now, and maybe some other people not so much with them, but for me and our team, we're not worried about that right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sometimes all you need is a good scolding. That's what I like to say.
Sometimes.
The other question I have, what did you order at Waffle House after you won the Daytona 500? And that came from Don O'Kid.
So my go-to Waffle House order is a bacon, egg, and cheese hash brown bowl, extra crispy bacon, extra crispy hash browns. I think I actually threw sausage in there as well on that one. Okay. And then a pecan waffle.
And a pecan waffle. I don't think I've ever in my life had a pecan waffle.
So the pecan waffles, like if you get a chocolate chip waffle at Waffle House, they just throw chocolate chips on top of it or peanut butter chips on top of it. The pecan waffle, they actually mix in the batter. So I feel like it's just solid.
I do like pecans. I feel like for me and you being from the South, we were probably those kids that walked around with the bags of pecans and we would just eat them.
Yeah.
Or get them from the
Throw
tree.
a little hot sauce on. Did you ever have a bag of pecans with hot sauce in it?
No, dude. What?
Yeah.
That might just be a you thing, dude. I don't know if I've ever heard that in my life. What kind of hot sauce are we putting on it, though?
I don't know what kind of. I just ate it. I didn't make it. I just ate it.
I would say like Tabasco would probably be the go-to hot sauce for pecans. Yeah, for me. Yeah. Probably Tabasco, maybe some Crystal, A lot of people don't know about that Crystal hot sauce, dude.
Yeah, Louisiana hot sauce ain't bad either.
It's not. It's good. Louisiana's good as well.
They got a lot of flavors.
They do. I like that in the red beans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get you a good bowl of red beans. It's always good. But yeah, one more question. They want to know, are you earning DAP points for this?
That's a good question. I didn't ask. I haven't turned it in, but I will turn it in.
There we go. So, hey, we just figured it out right here on the show. Well, dude, it's always awesome to get to talk with you, man. Hopefully get to link up with you one day soon, and excited for you going into New Hampshire this weekend. I saw the new paint reveal was today.
Yeah, we got the Hayek Motorsports paint scheme. My team does a good job of, we've got such great partners, throughout the year, and my guys don't want to devalue our car and just give away paint schemes. So, they do a good job with that. And we got great partners. Like you saw the NASCAR last weekend. We've had Martin's Potato Rolls, Rate, Sunny D. The Sunny D cars, we've had it out a lot this year. So the Fun Pops car, we've got some great ones, and looking forward to the rest of the year. We're just trying to claw our way back. I felt like the last 2 weekends have been solid weekends for us. Results-wise aren't great, but the balance in our race car has been 10 times better than what we've had for the last, kind of 2.5, 3 months. So I'm encouraged by that. We got, 7 more races left to make sure we figure it out.
Yeah. So we definitely there. I think we're down to our last 6 coming up this weekend. So yeah, it's it all starts here, but we do know that there's one race coming up very soon that you've executed at pretty well.
Looking forward to Talladega for sure.
There we go. Well, brother, dude, it's always good to get to chat with you, man.
Yeah.
We wish you luck this weekend. We'll be pulling for you, and yeah, just keep killing life with just badassery. That's what you do.
Yeah. Appreciate it, boys.
All right, take care,
Later.
brother. All right, and there he was, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the man, the myth, the legend. We love him to death. We love him to death on this program. That was a great call, guys, about the DAT points. We're going to make sure that man gets his DAT points, dude. Straight up. I think that's an awesome program that they have put out this weekend. And again, can't thank Ricky enough. Colin says bet place. I wasn't gonna directly ask that man that on this show. I have to respect certain areas. You know what I'm saying? I got to respect certain boundaries. But that's stuff we can talk about. I personally would maybe not recommend the Child's College Fund, possibly like a 4th grade fund. I feel like a 4th grade fund, like however much you spend on like colored pencils and crayons and compasses, like stuff like school supplies fund. I would spend a school supplies fund because I feel like that's a little more justifiable, Colin. I feel like you can justify a school supplies fund. You know what I mean? So maybe not a college fund, school supplies fund, absolutely, because then you can just take that and put it into the college fund. Kind of an investment, kind of a way to invest. But that was our guest, and we're going to be looking to have – shit, too late. He says too late. Too late. It's okay. All right, well, look, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We've discussed IndyCar. We talked a little bit about the Bristol night race. Joe Gibbs Racing swept the first round of the playoffs, and now we are going to kind of go ahead here at the top of the hour and kind of shift our focus a little bit. Again, if you've got calls, if you got things you want to talk about, the phone lines are open, 980-317-8717. You can get those calls in, talk it out, tell me what's on your mind, tell me what your thoughts are. But other than that, we're going to kind of focus a little bit more for the remainder of this program, talking a little bit about New Hampshire coming up this weekend and any other racing products that are out there. So obviously they had the Suzuka 1000. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know that Scott McLaughlin, he actually had a decent finish in that race, him and the Chevy team. I saw a lot of pictures on the gram that were talking about the Suzuka 1000. I may have been some dirt races this weekend that I don't know about. I think I saw a question that was here in the chat about, Ricky, sorry we didn't get to that, Haywood, about the SJR Sprint car in 26. Who's going to drive it? I'm learning a lot about the World of Outlaw series right now. I'm learning a lot about just basically late models on dirt in general. So I'm just kind of starting my journey in that because it is a motorsport report. We're going to have to talk about these things. So definitely want to be able to continue bringing that out. I said I was going to rip a pack before the top of the hour, and I didn't get to do that. So I feel like it's time to rip pack. Should we rip pack in the chat? We're going to rip a little pack. I've got these 1995 Upper Deck Series 2 cards, so this will be kind of like the break right now. Here's a new break. We successfully did our first live stream. You guys had no audio issues for calls. We've had no audio issues with our guest segment on this program today. So I feel like that's a call for celebration. So we're going to rip a pack. Just get in there. Just rip a little pack. This is not suitable for work. Don't tell anybody at your workplace that we're ripping pack. Shh. All right, let's see. Ooh, that's a good Rusty. That's a beautiful Rusty. That's one of the better Rusties in this set right there. Look at those shades on him. That's a hard-working man. He's not far from Kenny right there. He's not too far from Kenny, I would say. Let's take a look at this. Oh, a nice Mike Wallace. There's another one of those Wallace boys. Another one of them Wallace boys. I'm going to need to get another Zen. I'm going to need a 95 Greg Sachs. Look at that. Yeah, Hammond, hello. Hello. We're ripping a little pack right now, Hammond. You missed it. We had Ricky on. We've been talking racing. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the Motorsport Report. Get those calls in, 980-317-8717. Look at that Steve Kinzer. That's a beautiful Steve. I like it. Max Verstappen driving a slower car at Nürburgring with an instructor on how to get a license. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that. I really don't. I wish I did. I just don't have as much to say about that. So if anybody wants to talk about that, feel free to call. I don't really know what to say, so I'd like to learn more about it. This is the show where we all learn. Yes, the Oakley M frames do hit hard. Look at that Mark Martin, kind of a pondering Mark. It's kind of a Mark pondering Mark. We got a couple of those pondering Marks I've seen. Ooh, look at this Jeff Purvis. That was the perv. That's what they called him until they realized that was kind of a derogatory term, so they stopped calling him the perv. It's just Jeff Purvis. That's a Jeff. I dropped him on the floor. I hope he's not upset. Oh, look at this. 95 season debut, Jeremy Mayfield. That's another fellow we need to have on this program soon. Would anybody in the chat like to hear from Jeremy Mayfield? We'll call Jeremy up. We'll get him on the show one day. I know he's probably got a lot to say about what's going on in the racing world right now. Especially you want to talk a little bit about a lawsuit. Anybody want to talk a little bit? Dun, 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 dun. That's one thing that we do have to review before we move into New Hampshire, I will say. All right, if you get a break at work, you might call. That works, Super NASCAR fan Andrew. Take a look at that Did You Know Dale Jarrett. Did you know that that's Dale Jarrett and that's a bad motherfucker? That's what I knew. Oh, and then we got value right here, 73-94. Speedway legends, Harry Gant, oldest NASCAR Cup driver to win a race in history, still to this day. Pocono. Never forget it. Never forget it. Bobby Labonte and Rusty Wallace had the Oakley collaboration for retail sale, and they hit hard with the green and blue frames. God, they did. Jeremy Mayfield and Tony Stewart doubleheader shit talk interview. God, I would love it. Honestly, it's not impossible because Motorsport Report exists now. This show exists in the way that I've always wanted it to exist. So now we can do that. We can stage we can stage verbal fights and arguments here. I think this would be a great place for discourse for drivers that have beef. That's kind of what I want Motorsport Report to become. We'll have this be the place where drivers can call in, they can get DAP points, and they can beef at each other, and they can cuss and not be afraid to speak their mind. Because that's what we provide. We're providing value. Okay, this is about value, and that's what we do here. Continuing on, though, before we get into New Hampshire, I'm going to take a swig of this NOS energy drinks. Shameless plug. They pay my bills. You should buy it. NOS Energy. I drink the Zero. I drink the NOS Zero because I don't like a lot of sugar. I also drink unsweet tea. It's probably kind of a wimp move on my part from people I've talked to, but I care about my health, and I have to be able to do this program, and I want to do this program, so therefore I drink NOS Energy Zero, and it gives me all the energy that I need throughout the day. Thank you. Go buy one. And then take a picture of it and tag me and tag NOS. Do that. All right, do it. Most important thing. I have to swap my Zens. I want constant stems. I don't know what's going to happen. We're about to double up on the Zen. I've never done this before. I've never went back to back. The Zero does taste better than the OG. I agree. Look, they all taste great. My favorite Sonic Sour. NOS Sonic Sour is so good. I'm a big Granny Smith apple guy. I just wish we had Zero Sonic Sour. And then a lot of people are big on the cherry flavor. Everyone wants the cherry to return. I think cherry flavored stuff sucks. And so it doesn't bother me. I'm a big grape guy. Grape GT. I love me some of that grape. I was raised on grape drink, so I know all about it. But we're going to go ahead and cut over here back to our browser. Let's cut back to browser cam. We're in notifications. What are we doing there, silly? All right. This is one thing I wanted to kind of bring up before we got to New Hampshire.
TV doesn't want it. Like, TV wants these moments, I think.
Hold on a second. I hear that all the time. And I want to be clear about something. And I'm in these meetings. TV doesn't make these decisions.
Yeah.
Okay? NASCAR makes these decisions. When this format that we are currently racing under was created, I was in every damn meeting. TV didn't make this decision.
Yeah.
They would have had a seat at the table, as did drivers, as did car owners, as did NASCAR, as did
hopefully you can.
I mean the tracks. And TV didn't say, here's your format. This is what we're doing. That's not how that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that people think that's how it happened, I don't know where that's coming from. And if anyone thinks that TV wrote a prescription, here's how you're going to do this, that's bull.
People just were up in arms about the 36
so
races.
I had to
it's not
play
going to happen,
that out,
especially.
And I wanted everything to be played. I wanted the sound to be played. I wanted everyone to hear what Jeff Burton said. I'm sure that some of you guys have seen this one already. Glad that all right, the sound is working. Motorsport Report is live, baby. Just wanted to quick LOL to Hammonds, dude. I'm the same way, bro. If you bring me anything cherry flavored, I'm like, is this Robitussin? It doesn't matter what the fuck it is. You give me a cough drop, I'm like, is this a Robitussin cough drop? If you give me a fucking, if you gave me a cherry seltzer, I'm like, dude, is this a Robitussin seltzer? What the fuck is this? So yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Cherry is medicine. Cherry is what that's what my brain associates with medicine. Haywood brings up a good topic here. So we're going to talk a little bit about what Jeff Burton said on Door Bumper Clear. Haywood just said, but look at Fox meddling in the IndyCar schedule and NASCAR schedule. Fox and IndyCar are a completely separate topic, I feel like. I feel like where IndyCar's at right now, they've already made it very clear. They made it very clear, like, they need help and they want help. So I expect that with Fox. I really do, especially with IndyCar. When you look at people talking about NBC, NASCAR on NBC making this playoff format, if we change to another network, do the playoffs stay the same? Yeah. And I saw someone had posted, they were like, neither NBC or NASCAR wants to take responsibility. This all falls on NASCAR. And I want to clear that up. I want to make that very fucking clear here. This is NASCAR's product. NASCAR is the entity. NASCAR is deciding what their product looks like. And the TV can offer advice. They can offer their ideas, kind of like Fox is doing with IndyCar. No, there is not going to be a playoff system in IndyCar. I can guarantee that. Not at least in our lifetime. Or maybe in our lifetime, but not in our current generation, I would say. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. But we do have the NASCAR playoffs. I don't think that the TV has anything to do with this. This is decisions that NASCAR have made, and it leads into a very interesting news story that I stumbled upon this weekend. And I don't know if many of y'all saw it. I'm going to have to scroll down a little bit to go find it because I want to pull it up here and I want to kind of dive into it with everyone so that I can get everyone's thoughts on this. And if anybody does have thoughts on it, feel free to call in, get in the chat, whatever. But there was some news that came out, and we're just going to go to Adam Stern here on X. There was a news that came out. All right. Amid the rapid rise of motorsport racing, NASCAR is looking to capture some of the buzz. To do so, NASCAR will reintroduce its brand in a way that plays up its rebellious Americana roots, satisfying its core fan base while reaching new audiences. In another post with the same article, NASCAR Chief Brand Officer Tim Clark, we don't have an awareness problem. Check out that Chat GPT. That hyphen. If you see that hyphen, that's Chat GPT. I'm just letting everybody know here. AI awareness session. Just a perception problem. It's time we told our own story in our own voice. That is about being comfortable in our own skin and telling our story on our terms via Adweek. I'm not even going to open the fucking story because it's hilarious to me that you had to hire a marketing team to show you what already was there. To show you what people have been trying to show you for the last 5 years. And I guess maybe I take this one a little bit more personal too, because the entire idea behind what I started with Garage Guys was to really invigorate the old spirited nature of what NASCAR was in the 90s and the early 2000s. I wanted to bring that vibe back to the sport because I felt like the sport was moving away from it. And I just kind of slid into it with betting. And I was good at gambling, and I'm still good at gambling, by the way. Never stopped being good at gambling. I just don't promote it as much. But I will say that if you need a marketing team to show you what has been screaming and yelling at you for, I don't know fucking how long, that is crazy. Yes, bringing Winston back. This show right here is like a final form of bringing Winston. This is what it was always kind of meant to be. And so when I started Garage Guys, that was my mission. And then I wanted to go after NFL football fans, NBA fans. I wanted to go after MLB fans. I wanted stick and ball sport guys to see what the fuck was happening over here in racing, and particularly NASCAR. And I'm very open about that now. I have nothing to hide. I don't have any scheme. I'm not trying to plot. I'm trying to show people what I see. And that's always what I've been trying to do, is just show people what I think is badass about racing and what I think is cool about racing. And I found a lot of you crazy motherfuckers in the process here in the chat, people that call in. I've met a lot of you guys. We've got a whole entire Discord community that is just fucking full of just heathens. And I love it because I'm a heathen, because I'm a wild man, because I like to have fun. And I like to have fun with my racing. And there's just so much more to racing than just statistics and science, and it's a community. It's something that I grew up in, and it's something that needs to be shown. And it's like, if you get that far away to where you are that brain dead, to where you can't tell that, like, that's where your glue was really at, to play up to that, and you need to hire somebody from the outside, I think that's nuts. But I'm so fucking glad that they hired 72 and Sunny Media, or 72 and Sunny Marketing Strategy, whatever their company's called. 72 and Sunny is what the company's called. I'm just glad that they got them and told them what they should have already known. That's what matters. Interview Kamara from the Saints on here. I would love to. I'll have to reach out to him. I'll see if he wants to come on. But I feel like it's been screaming and yelling at you in the face for so long, and for them to have to go out and hire a team, glad they did it. Obviously, they just needed to spend a shitload of money and have someone tell them what they should have already known, or what people have been screaming to them and yelling for free. I think that's a great way to allocate funds. I think that's a super way to allocate funds. But whatever it takes, people are going to roast them for it. That's fine. They can deserve it all they want. As long as the product gets back on track to like the type of NASCAR that we all love, that we all grew up with, that's what matters. Saturday night at Bristol was that. Jim France needs consultants to tell him his shoes are untied. We had Jim France burner account in the chat at the race during the Bristol Saturday night race. Some random person had popped in here. They changed their name to Jim France burner account, and now they can't change it for 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll see the return of Jim France burner account here over the next 2 weeks while we're doing this program. I just had to get my thoughts out about that. Like, you shouldn't need to do this, but if you need to do this, make it fucking work. And if what we're seeing from Saturday night is a little bit of proof of that, is a little smidge of like maybe what we can expect moving forward, I'm okay with that, and I'm happy with that, because that does feel like, okay, now we're in this groove. This is where we need to stay. This is the kind of stuff that brings these elements. It reinvigorates the drivers. You heard from Ricky on here. Nobody really knew what the fuck was going on. That is like, oh shit, we got to regroup. We got to figure this out. We got to strategize. That makes it makes everything so much fucking better. It may be a little chaotic. It may be a little unpredictable in a day and age of artificial intelligence. Sometimes you need a little bit of unpredictability because it's a good thing. And I know, because I'm essentially a paradox. Those are the same consultants actually tie his shoes for him and his friends. Probably they pay him enough. I will say they probably paid him enough. I guarantee you that was over 6 figures that they paid for that. Had to have been. I would love to see the books. I would love to see the books about how much they paid for that. Let's go ahead and let's start moving on. It's 1:20 p.m. Eastern time here on Motorsport Report. Again, you can get those calls in anytime, 980-317-8717. The phone lines are up and running today. It's a good day. Eventually, as we keep growing this thing, we'll get some more help on spreading the word on social media. I can't do it all, but I damn sure try. Let's get ready to talk a little bit New Hampshire. Let's talk a little bit about New Hampshire. The lobsters are coming up. Bring out the dancing lobsters. Any Amanda Show fans on this program? Who grew up with the Amanda Show? Hope everything comes out in the lawsuit. Oh, that'd be fun. There's already a ton that's come out. They'll show us the gold codes. We're going to look at some gold codes right here for today. Before we do DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, I just want to say I want to give a big shout out to Grid Rival. Grid Rival has been an amazing partner of mine this year. I know that it's not available for everyone to play Grid Rival in every state. It's a fantastic application on your phone. You can download it. They've got NFL now, NFL football, so you can combine NFL picks with your racing picks. But it's a big racing product where they have IndyCar, NASCAR trucks, NASCAR Xfinity, Formula One, and NASCAR. They had MotoGP and other things that are very hard for you to get props on some of these books. And so they have an amazing prop game. So right now you can go and do, passing yard props. You can do matchup props for football and NASCAR, combining football and NASCAR. I mean, what's not to love, dude? What's not to love? Tiger says, trying to get a gold code flag, mate. Please, God, do. I should sell one. I should get one. I should put it on the market. Once you get it, Tiger, let me see it, and I'm going to get with you, and we're gonna push this out to the world, dude. We'll make some money off of that. Oh no, Super NASCAR fan Andrew forgot his Bristol picks. That's rough. It happens. I'm currently 10th in Chase for the Cup, which is my NASCAR season-long league. I've got to make some driver ads going into this weekend, but if you go check out on my channel, I should have a link up to it. If I don't, let me know or hit me up in the Discord. I can get you a link to Grid Rival. Like I said, I'm currently 10th in Chase for the Cup. We got over 500 people playing in that league. And then we have the official NASCAR league of Grid Rival, which has fucking thousands of people playing in it. I am currently sitting in 87th in that league. So whoever wins Chase for the Cup at the end of the year is going to get a standing on business Jeff Gordon phone, just like mine. You got to stand on business. This is a great way to stand on business. So you're going to get that as your prize. And I'll throw in a blazer from Goodwill and put a patch on it. So that's what you'll get. That's what it went from 7th to 15th. Oh, damn. Get up there. You want that blazer and you want to get this standing on business Jeff Gordon phone. It's in the box, brand new. The stickers aren't even on it. I found it and I've got it, and that's going to the winner of Chase for the Cup. And it's not too late to get in Chase for the Cup either. So get in my Discord, ask somebody for a link here in the chat. They'll get it to you. And when you join my Discord, I'll get you a link to Grid Rival. Get in there. You can play out throughout the playoffs because I'm going to be playing heavy. But let's go and look at these gold codes. Let's go check out these gold codes for this weekend. The Mobile One 301. We've got Christopher Bell, plus 330, minus 125 for a top 3 finish. I don't know anybody that would be that scared to bet that. Don't really know. Ryan Blaney, plus 650. Kind of like Blaine Dog a little bit this week. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about why. Kyle Larson, plus 650, right there tied with Blaney. Hamlin at plus 650. Briscoe. Now we're moving a little bit. Briscoe and Logano, both at the 7 to 7.5 to 1 range. And then we go right up to William Byron, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace. That's where we start the value. That's where the value comes into play. And I'm going to be real. Looking at some of these statistics, guys. Nope, we don't want to see your Team City ad. Look who sits at the top. since February of 2022, Josh Berry's record at New Hampshire, he's only ran there once. He started 10th and he finished 3rd. Now, I'm not going to say that man's going to win this race this weekend, but he did get a 3rd place finish. Josh Berry is right now 10-1 for a top 3. He has no pressure on him. No pressure on him whatsoever to compete in the playoffs. All right? He shit the bed. Let's be real. The man looked like a baby coming out of a womb of his car at Bristol. They yanked him. They yanked him out, and it looked like he was a little baby getting yanked from a mother. I don't know how else to describe it. He finished last in all three of the first round of the playoff races. I think that this is a weekend. I'm just going to say I think this is a weekend where it may not be a bad idea to sprinkle a little bit on Berry at 10-1. Berry's goal this weekend is not to finish last, says Super NASCAR fan Andrew. That is a great observation, and I think that is not a bad bet at all. I'm curious to see what his top 10s are. Let's go look and see where they have Josh Berry at right now. Plus 150 for a top 10. That tells you everything you need to know. I would smash the fuck out of that. Because anytime you see a guy that has just completely shit the bed in the playoffs, guys, and I think we all know this, when you completely shit the bed in the playoffs and you lose, you're out, there's no pressure anymore, sometimes we get those guys that step up and they're just like, man, I got all my spunk back. Wish I could have had it. This will be Josh Berry at the end of New Hampshire. Man, where was all this at in the last 3 races, man? We're just happy to have a good finish and da-da-da. That's going to be what's going to happen. We're going to manifest it. I'm going to get the crystal ball. I'm going to get the crystal ball out right now. Crystal ball is out. We're going to manifest a Josh Berry top 10 plus 150 on DK. That's where I've seen those odds. I don't know if we're going to get any better odds than that. We'll go look, but I don't think we're going to get any better odds than that. So we're manifesting the Josh Berry top 10. He's going to be on the post race. He's going to say, man, where was all of this over the last 3 races, man? I wish we could have just had this put together. Da, da, da. So there we go. I closed my eyes. I held a crystal ball. We just manifested a Josh Berry top 10. Smash it. Smash it with a hammer. Break it. That's something you could put the school supplies fund on it. You know what I mean? I mean, you could justify that one to your spouse. You could definitely justify that to your spouse. Let's go see Josh Berry. What? Plus 185 on FanDuel. Oh, hold on. I got to get the browser up for you guys. Plus 185 on the duel. This guy's plus 185 on the duel. I like that. Why can't I zoom today? My little trackpad won't let me zoom in. Plus 185 for a top 10 on the duel. We love FanDuel because they always fucking up motorsport odds. Top 10 on Caesars. Where's Josh Berry? Where's Joshua? Joshua. Where are you, Joshua? Damn, do they have Josh Berry on here? Oh, there he is. Plus 160. So, yeah, again, FanDuel's going to have the best odds for a top 10 for him this weekend in New Hampshire. When you look at these stats, I mean, he's only ran there once. He did finish 3rd. I'm just going to say that. So there is that. Martin Truex Jr., obviously he's not there anymore. Kevin Harvick not there anymore. Christopher Bell is kind of taken over as the guy there, I think, to beat. But it's funny because Christopher Bell's down here. So he's the most consistent. Obviously, he's going to be the favorite. Finished 1st last year. Finished 29th in July of 2023 and won in 2022. Finished 2nd in 2021. 2021 doesn't matter. But so for him to have 2 wins in the Gen 7 era and then just a really bad finish there, and he was running in that race too, which is fucking nuts. So should be 1,500. Yeah, I wish Josh Berry was 1,500. I don't know if I'd bet on Josh Berry to win. I say that now. Watch that be like the most insane thing that could possibly happen. Josh Berry wins in New Hampshire. Comes out of nowhere. They just put the car together. He has no pressure on him. I factor that shit in. I really do. He's 40-1 to win, and he is literally 10-1 for a top 3. I may bet I may bet the top 3. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough call. But let's look at some of these other big movers. So there's some guys that I think are going to be important to talk about. Obviously, Denny Hamlin's going to be one to talk about. Joe Gibbs Racing in general is going to be big to talk about for this weekend. I don't mind the Joe Gibbs Racing continual ass whoopings. I do think that they are going to be strong. There's not going to be a moment really where you're going to have them out of the woods. And when you go look at this playoff picture up here, so we've got Denny Hamlin leading the board, William Byron there in second, Larson in third, Christopher Bell in fourth. Christopher Bell most likely will be moved up after this weekend. I do think that that Christopher Bell will win this race. Everything has to go right, obviously, but they're just in a position right now to where they've got the win. He's got the momentum. And if you remember earlier in the season, I mean, he pulled a three-peat. Chris Bell pulled a three-peat out his ass, so don't think that he can't pull a three-peat again. And I'm going to say that again on the main cam because I'm probably going to make a clip about it. Christopher Bell pulled a three-peat earlier in this season. Don't think that he ain't going to pull the three-peat out his back pocket and put an ass-whooping down again. He can do it. He can do it. He has demonstrated that he can do it, and he might just do it again. So I just wanted to say that. You'll probably see that on your social media feeds somewhere this week. So Super NASCAR Fan Andrew says, also on another note, can we give a thank you to Mother Nature because we have had no Cup race postponed because of rain so far this season. Let's all give a quick thanks to Mother Nature. Round of applause. Can we get some SIGs in chat? Can we get some SIGs in chat for Mother Nature? SIGs in chat for Mother Nature. I want to see my chat flooded with SIGs. Let's flood it out. Mother Nature doing a damn thing. We love it. I got crystals here for Mother Nature. Crystals for Mother Nature, SIGs in chat for Mother Nature. We're going to give them that. We love Mother Nature. Great gal. She hasn't cried in a long time. She's been very pleased at what she's seen at these races. But getting back to this playoff picture, who do we have on the bubble down here? We've got Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick. What I'm going to be probably most focused on, and then we've got Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, and Ryan Blaney. I think Chase will probably have a really decent finish. Obviously, we know Martin Truex Jr. was really good at this track. Thank you for SIGs in chat. Martin Truex Jr. was really good at this track. That 19 team, they've put together a great product, so I don't think that that's going to be something to really be concerned about. I do think we'll see Chase Briscoe move up. I do think we'll see Christopher Bell move up. The big question that looms right now is Hendrick Motorsports. Chase Elliott had a very, very rough night at Bristol. And there was a video here that we're going to go take a look at real quick just to kind of hear his thoughts because they were asking him a little bit about what he thought moving in to the next round. Let's see if we can find it. I know it's here somewhere. I just saw it not too long ago. Got a lot in the bookmarks. We're going to have to start keeping these bookmarks clean. I do want to talk about the walkout songs, too, from Bristol. So we're just going all over the place today. But let's take a listen real quick at this video with Chase Elliott.
The 22 in the tube, or the 22 got position on me and thought I was doing the smart thing, just trying to get back to the bottom. And I guess I thought I was clear, back down in line. I visually saw wasn't expecting me to come back to the bottom or what the struggled. We had spent the majority of the night in the back. Just felt like we needed some balance adjustments there. Once it sucks, and I'm sure that'll probably be it. But
you're 23 points above the cut line right now.
You're pretty much in unless Bowman wins.
Well, pretty much doesn't make me feel better. How about that?
Pretty much doesn't make me feel better.
If you are in, how do you want to attack the next round?
Like we have nothing to lose.
Chase, how did the tire wear?
Okay, so what does Chase Elliott with nothing to lose look like? It's a very serious question. What does Chase Elliott with nothing to lose look like? And we can go back and look at some of the races from the past. Like Chase Elliott, obviously, there have been moments where there's been some greatness, but it does feel a little bit like Chase has lost his luster a little bit with over the last year or so. Now, he's still obviously the most popular driver. He's still racing for one of the best teams in NASCAR, Hendrick Motorsports, but they have been underperforming. And look, I'm not going to hold Bristol as one of these races to where I'm like I didn't expect anything out of anybody really after that race. And I don't think any team should be held accountable for anything that was just kind of like that was one of them things, man. That's one of those rare races that we may not get again for a while because these teams and these drivers are going to anticipate a little bit better when it comes to the tire rule change. Like I said, so that Bristol race, if you missed that one, I hate that for you. Rewatch that. That's a gem of a race. We probably won't see that again for a while. But what this does do now is it does make us turn our attention. It's like, when are we going to see them really come out and shine? This weekend, I think this is another Joe Gibbs racing weekend. Colin says Logano plus 300 to make the Final Four. I don't think that's a bad bet. I mean, look at what we've seen over the years, right? But with Hendrick, man, like, we've got Kansas coming up in this round, and then we go to the Roval. There's arguably some better road course racers now with this Gen 7 car. I think everyone expected Chase Elliott to come out and shine at all the road courses because that's what he did in 2021. And then when we get to 2022, the Gen 7 really just changed a lot of shit. It really did. It kind of like knocked him off that road course prowess. Kind of put, some people said it humbled him. I don't think it humbled him. I think he just gets out there and drives. He drives what he's got, and he does what he can. I have nothing against Chase at all. But what I do know is that there needs to be a big, big step up. I think everybody is probably looking ahead. And I don't want to get too far ahead, but I have to for the point of this conversation. Because where we all know that Joe Gibbs is probably going to dominate New Hampshire this weekend, unless Hendrick can really just bring something heavy to the table and maybe some of these other outliers. We have to look into Kansas, and we have to look at the Roval. Where has Hendrick really been able to dominate on road courses this year? They haven't, because of Shane Van Gisbergen. And I think Shane Van Gisbergen probably wins the Roval. It's going to take him having to get wrecked out to not. Kansas is where the step up can happen. If Chase can get up there and challenge Kyle Larson, that's going to be the telltale. And I think that Kansas is one that I'm really looking forward to coming into this round, because we know that Kyle Larson's probably going to be primed to dominate. They're going to bring their stats package, their data, whatever. They're going to get them ready because they know that they've got to capitalize. Chase Elliott has to step up at that race, and I feel like it's time that we see that Kansas win for him. But with this weekend, I mean, he really just needs to have a solid finish. If Chase Elliott can have a top 10 finish, I think Chase Briscoe has a top 10 finish. I think Chase Elliott will have one. So the big Chase energy weekend coming up for sure in New Hampshire. I do feel good about that. Super NASCAR fan Andrew says, any Final Four bet is going to be based off who avoids the big one at Dega in the round of 8. Very true. Very true. So get somebody that can race good, and I think Logano is in that category of somebody that can hold strong at Talladega. I don't mind it. I think that those odds are ass cheeks, but I don't mind it. Big Chase energy going into this weekend. I think they can both get a top 10. Christopher Bell, I think, wins it. Kyle Larson is the iffy one for me. William Byron is a little bit iffy for me as well. I think that it's crazy to say, but I think that we could see Kyle Larson maybe potentially drop a little bit. I think Chase Elliott knows that he's got to step up big here. I like that one. Bubba, I think possibly could be in that middle category, because people forget Bubba Wallace is pretty good at this track. Let's go look at some statistics. For Bubba Wallace, he's had 2 top 10 finishes, 2022 and 2023 with 2311 Racing. He did finish there. He had an accident last year that kept him out of that top 10. So there are a lot of guys going into this weekend that I think are going to be really, really good. Really, really good. Bubba is one of them. And looking at odds right now, I'm going to be honest with you. Bubba seems like he's in a completely different headspace, and I know that it was good to hear from Ricky today, because now we got a little bit of clarification that he was calling himself a sitting duck, it sounds like. He's going to bring it up to him on the plane. So we'll see. Well, I'll keep everyone posted here about what that was all about, because I think some people were taking that as he was calling Ricky a sitting duck, but it might be him calling himself the sitting duck. that does seem a little bit more like Bubba. He is a little more hard on himself. So going into this weekend, I kind of like Bubba Wallace. I'm not going to lie. I think that Jordan mentality stepped up. They've got this lawsuit going on. They're playing for keeps, dog. 23-11 is playing for keeps. I don't want to discount Tyler Reddick here, but at 22-1 to win, I like Bubba Wallace. I think we can all agree here in the chat and everyone watching that a Toyota is probably going to take this race. At 22-1, I like Bubba. Bubba has shown that he can do it here as long as he stays out of trouble, doesn't get in an accident. We know we'll probably have a top 10 coming from Bubba, potentially a win. I think that this could be where he steps up. So I'm just going to say, imagine if Denny, Bubba, and Reddick all get to the Final Four as a big fuck you. That would be hilarious, actually, Andrew. I would love that. And I think there's a lot of fans out there that would love that as well. So anything can happen. I think it's going to be very hard to get past Penske, though. And Hendrick should at least have one car in. But I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go back to main cam. I know I'm switching a lot around here. But look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think this could potentially be a year where Hendrick makes it by the skin of their teeth, if not at all. It just has not looked that great. Now, you always want to believe like, oh, yeah, right, Hendrick's going to get it together. But when you really take a moment to think about the tracks that we have left to go to, Penske has been learning how to dominate at these tracks. Joe Gibbs has been doing pretty good. Hendrick's kind of been like that last one on the board, really kind of creeping. There hasn't really been major domination out of them. So I don't know what's going on over there. And maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, please call and challenge me. Please call and tell me I'm wrong. Because I'm just telling you from what I see from my perspective. I feel like this could be a year where Hendrick could potentially be in trouble. Like if they don't put together at least like a top 3 this weekend, they could be in trouble. Because these Toyotas are coming. Penske's going to put it together. Penske's not going to flub. Then again, I say that, but then you go look at what Penske did in IndyCar this year. I just don't think Ryan Blaney's gonna flub. They got too many races coming up for him where it looks really good. But I keep going off into the future. We got plenty of weeks to talk about each race. Talk a little bit more about New Hampshire. My lock right now, I'm gonna go ahead and say, like I said, I like the Christopher Bell bet. I feel like is very safe. It's a very safe bet. I just don't know if like I even want to play that. I'd rather maybe sprinkle a smidge on a couple of drivers that I think could win it on a long shot. Hammond says Bubba has Final Four speed. I see it. I really do, man. Like his headspace is somewhere else this year. I feel like he's finally kind of like elevated out of that fucking self-loathing shit. And maybe just working with Michael Jordan so much and talking with him and like even Tyler. Like, I mean, look at Tyler. Look at how hard Tyler fought at Darlington for that second place finish. I mean, it's an interesting time for NASCAR fans and just for NASCAR in general. And there's just it feels like there's more on the line this year than there has been in a while. If it is Logano versus 23-11 and Denny in Final Four, Logano's car will be big time cheated. I don't know about that. Andrew. I don't know. I don't know if I'd go as far to say that. But what I will say is it does seem like Hendrick right now is in a little bit of a funk, and they're going to have to find a way out. So this weekend, like I said, I'm big on Yoda. Big on Yoda this weekend. I'm not ready to pull a trigger at plus 330. I just think that there's better value out there. I do like Ryan Blaney at plus 650, and I have a couple of notes here that I can read off for Ryan Blaney of why I think he would be great. 2025 playoffs, best consistency of anyone. He was 4th at Gateway and Bristol, top 10 everywhere. 2024 New Hampshire, average running position was 8th, finished top 5. So he's got a strong baseline there, all right? He's the safest bet for another top 5, maybe even a win, according to my models that I have built out for this race. So at plus 650, I think that if I'm going to go to look at somebody for this weekend that's not a Toyota, Blaney has to be that guy. I think that they have him pretty accurately priced out. He's plus 650 on FanDuel. And then over on Caesars, kind of want a Caesar salad. sounds kind of good with like some chicken. I think I'm going to go get that. He's 6-1 on Caesars. So you can definitely get better odds on him on DraftKings and FanDuel. Maybe some other books there too. If you're in the chat and you're on some other books that I'm not on, I just usually stick to DraftKings, FanDuel, and Caesars. If you guys see any better odds on him, let us know in the chat. Help a brother out. But the case for Denny Hamlin, won at Gateway, a lead at Darlington, had a DNF at Bristol. Or no, I don't know if he did. He finished laps down. I know that if he did. I don't know 100%. Maybe off on that. Maybe right, maybe wrong. Don't know. Strong pace, top 10 in most metrics for New Hampshire. Bristol was a fluke. Loudon suits him. Contender to win. Denny Hamlin, plus 650. So he's right there with Blaney. So, I mean, these books, these odds, and that I did read that off of an AI model that I have built with all of the statistics. So the computers are working together strong. Obviously, these guys are using computers. Big computer guys. So you can't really go wrong with those. What I will say is Kyle Larson at 8-1, you may not see him that long because he's plus 650 on FanDuel, and he is plus 650 on DraftKings. So for him to be sitting right here on Caesars at 8-1, I would probably bet on that. If you think Hendrick is going to rebound this weekend, I kind of like that. I think that kind of has to be a lock, maybe, a little bit. I like that. I like 8-1 for Kyle Larson. Let's go look at some statistics. Get out of here, Team City. Gross. And I'm saying all this because I'm thinking y'all are looking on the browser too. Let me get back the screen where it needs to be. Okay, so I have Bubba Wallace's stats pulled up here. Let's go back and let's look at Kyle Larson. He's 8-1 right now on Caesars. Okay, roughly he's had some troubles. There's been some troubles recently. But look at these stats. He finished 4th here last year. He finished 3rd here in 2023 and 14th in 2022. So he went from 3rd to 4th. He's still up there. He knows he's in a spot where, like, okay, I got to capitalize here. He's sitting 3rd in the points right now. He wants to not have to worry about shit. He's primed. He's primed to take it this weekend. 8-1, I kind of like that. Can Toyota actually sweep all 4 championship spots with 23-11 and Gibbs? Potentially. Bell, Hamlin, Bubba, and Reddick. I mean, there's a lot of work that would have to be put into that, Super NASCAR fan. But it's not out of the realm of possibilities. It really isn't. Kyle Larson at 8-1. That's got to be a lock. That's got to be a lock. So Larson at 8-1 is going to be my first lock, I would say, early on. We may not, if he wins this race and he carries on into Kansas and then at the Roval, where it may not be, he's definitely going to be shorter odds at the Roval, but you might not see him this long for another race until like Talladega. And that's where pretty much everyone's 10-1. I would go to Caesars. I would hit 8-1 on Larson. I think that's a good bet. Looking at some of these other guys, let's go back to DraftKings now. So 8-1 on Caesars. That's the first lock I'm going to give out. We've got about 10 minutes left on the program today, so I'm going to try to get through this quickly. If there's any more calls that wants to come in, get your calls in now. I'll get that number pulled up for us too. We'll get back to the main cam so that way we can talk it out. Everybody's got the number there. So if you want to get a call in before the end of this show, now is the time as we're running through here. Larson's going to be a lock at 8-1. I like Josh Berry plus 150 for a top 10. I think it's worth a sprinkle. I think it's worth a sprinkle because when you get and that's only if you've got the money for it. Obviously, don't go out of your way to spend money on this one. This is like if you've got a free bet. If you got a free bet out there, I'm trying to help everyone be responsible here because this is definitely a gut boy play because of the shit that he has been through in the last couple of races. It's literally a coin flip. But I like the coin flip. I like plus 150 for a top 10 for Josh Berry. The odds could be better, but it's a coin flip, and I just like to be right. It's fun. Looking at some of these other guys that are up here in the playoffs, Byron is at 11-1, Elliott at 12-1. Elliott could sneak up But again, like the pressure's on. I think Chase Elliott definitely performs well under pressure here. I think he performs well under pressure anywhere. Okay? So if we're looking at this, he obviously does not have the results. He does not have the results here recently for me to be confident in that. He's not even anywhere close. Hopefully he can get a top 10. I just, with what they're going through right now, I don't think we see maybe a rebound until Kansas. But Larson is going to be the one Hendrick car that I will say. He's my lock. 8-1, Kyle Larson. We might not see him longer than that again this year. I do like Ryan Blaney. I don't know. Hopefully maybe he'll sandbag in qualifying and we can get him a little bit longer. That would be fun. Because Blaney is definitely, he's been consistent. I think we could be seeing him as the front runner for Penske going into the playoffs. I think Joey Logano will miss it by the skin of his teeth. I really do. But Colin doesn't want to hear that because he just bet he bet the school tuition on it. Momentum risers, just a couple of guys to look out for. Brad Keselowski, veteran savvy, second at Bristol, led laps at Gateway. Roush cars showed steady, Loudon speed. Dark horse for a top 3. Not too bad. Chase Briscoe overachieved in all 3 races. A win at Darlington, led 127 laps at Bristol. He was mid-pack on raw numbers, but Toyota Alliance helps, and I feel like we all know where the headspace is with Joe Gibbs Racing going into this weekend. He is somebody else we want to kind of watch, maybe for a top 3, and we go look at Chase Briscoe's odds. Briscoe is plus 200 for a top 3. That's gross. We're not doing that. Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar, that's just playing off the recency bias from Bristol. I don't think that we see them having super strong runs at all going into this weekend. If we do, you can call me a liar, and maybe we can get Zane or Carson on this show to rub it in my fucking face. But yeah, there are some concerns. There are some people to watch. Obviously, Elliott being one of them, Byron being one of them, Gibbs being one of them because he's not even in the championship hunt now. I feel like they're really, now that the first round is out of the way, Ty Gibbs has just been known to do really well at Bristol. I think that that's going to kind of fade a little bit. And then, yeah, I'm not going to lie, guys. I kind of want to throw some money at Bubba Wallace this weekend. He is 22-1 on DraftKings. He is 25-1 on FanDuel. And on Caesars, we can find Bubba Wallace at 20-1. So if you're looking at Caesars as the benchmark, he's 20-1 here. Go grab him on FanDuel, our favorite sports book for betting on NASCAR, because they love NASCAR and they love helping us put money in our pockets. Not as easy as it was in 2021 and 2022, but FanDuel tries to make it a little bit sweeter. So we do like that. I'm gonna go ahead and say I would sprinkle Wallace at 25-1 this weekend. So there's that. 25-1 for Bubba Wallace. Plus 800 for Kyle Larson on Caesars. Those are the 2 guys I like early on this week. I'll have some more bets I'll talk about. Make sure you follow me on X. Make sure that you follow me on the gram. I might start putting them on Action. Should I start putting my bets back on Action Network, guys, especially through the playoffs? I know a lot of you here in the chat are big on the Action Network, and if it helps, everything I do will always be free. I like to help my people, and that's just the way I roll. Chase top 10, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to call that. I don't feel that good about it right now, so no. I would say at this very moment, I'm going to wait for practice and qualifying. We'll see what we get there. To create a better race at New Hampshire, can they get a water truck to wet the track and use the rain tires for the final thing? What a time that was. That's what we should do. We should go back and watch some rain laps at the end of this show. We're coming up on 5 minutes left of the show. We're going to watch some rain laps at New Hampshire to close out the show today. Trucks, I got Chandler Smith, Danny Hemrick, and Eckes outright pre-qualifying. Nice. I don't know much about trucks. I'm going to be looking for people that are Nash truck experts to join in and into the chat. I need some Nash truck experts. The first place I'm always going to look for people, personalities to be on my show is the Discord. It is free. We've got a great group of guys in there that know race. You know, you have your guys that know ball. We know race. All right? And not the color of your skin. We're talking about the product on the track. We know race over there in the Discord. DK, Bubba, plus 180 to beat group of Keselowski, Gibbs, and Barry. That's tempting. That is kind of tempting. But, like, Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski would scare the piss out of me. Because, like, Brad could just be like, fuck it, I almost finished second. Let me turn up. Don't sleep on Brad Keselowski when the lobsters are out. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to fucking say, dude. He did finish 28th at this race last year, but in 2023 he finished 5th, and in 2022 he finished 7th. Don't sleep on Brad Keselowski. Don't do it. Don't do it. I like Larson. I like Wallace. That's really all I want to kind of dive into. The Barry plus 150 for a top 10, I don't mind it. And I'm going to just take some time for the rest of the week. I just didn't want to leave you guys empty-handed on this program. I wanted to make sure I gave you something. I need to give you a little bit of something. So the plus 150 for a Barry top 10, we like that. Larson to win, 8-1. Go and shrink those odds now so that you can tell everybody you got it, because I promise you the trigger's about to be pulled for me. Wallace at 25-1. I like that one as well for my long shot, my dark horse going into this weekend at New Hampshire. I was best at handicapping Indy mostly this year. Hell yeah. I wish we had longer odds for IndyCar, and I'm still going to be rooting for more selection. Caesars does a great job of it, but we need more on DraftKings and FanDuel where more of your casuals are betting. So we definitely got to work on that product. As we get ready to end the program today, it's been a great show, guys. The chat's been great. I hope you guys have had a good time. We got to talk to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. about his Bristol experience. You guys got to ask him some questions. The 2 questions that I did ask him that were fan questions came from the Discord. The Discord is free. Get in there. Be a part of the conversation. I'm in there a lot of times. Be a friend, tell a friend. And if you have a link to the Discord, or if anybody in this chat that's new here wants a link to the Discord, you know where to get it. Just ask somebody, and they'll hook you up. We have a great community that's growing strong over there. Let's pull up YouTube so that we can go look at some rain action in New Hampshire. We like a little bit of rain action. Rain tires, New Hampshire. I think this will be a great way to close the program out today. I've had a fun time. Let's see. Kyle Petty, wet weather tires made USA Today 301 one of the best New Hampshire races. We're just going to watch this video together. Let me get this thing pulled up. There's a couple of fan views that are out there that have like 10 views. How long are these videos? 1 minute long. We're going to give them some love. Let's move over to the browser. Get over to browser. Let's watch some of these. This will kind of suck. Here we go. There's a Chase Elliott on board.
656.
Maybe it'll be wet. I don't know. Maybe it'll be wet. Maybe it won't be. We'll figure it out one way or another. But those videos weren't as good as I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be better videos, but they weren't. Look, this has been a great show. I've had a great time with you guys. Thanks for everybody that called in. Thanks for everybody that tuned in, that got in the chat. We're going to have plenty more of this show to come. Be ready for next Wednesday between 12 p.m. Eastern Time and 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep talking about the show. Tell your friends. Get ready to call in. Even if you want to just call in and talk, leave a voicemail, I will play the voicemails on this program as well. This is the whole point of this thing, is to let the fan voice be heard. So let's keep sharing it. Let's keep growing it. Thanks so much for subscribing to the channel, for liking this video, and for sharing it with your friends today. And the more we do that, the more driver guests we'll have, the more we will talk with drivers from all series, not just NASCAR, but IndyCar, maybe World of Outlaws. We're going to go all across the board. This is Speed Channel now. Okay? This is Speed Channel now. Motorsport Report is Speed Channel of the internet. Welcome aboard. It's been a great day. Been a great time. Much love to everybody. I'm out. We'll see you all again. I'll be live streaming the race this weekend, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, New Hampshire. Be right back here on my YouTube channel. We're going to live stream the whole race, and then we're going to take calls, immediate reactions right after we do that. I will see everyone later. Much love. Bye-bye.